Welcome to Ravenfield. Ravenfield, if the name didn't give it away, seeks to emulate Battlefield, with the exception of being completely offline and utilizing bots instead of players. And this bot count isn't limited to 60 like the Battlefield series is with its 60 players per match. Instead, the amount of bots is purely limited to what your hardware can handle. These bots, by the way, whilst having amazing shooting abilities, being able to headshot you across the map with a pistol, have zero sense of self-preservation. For example, they will autistically hone in and focus on shooting a single target, even when being shot at by the player or other bots. They also have zero sense of teamwork and self-preservation. For example, here's one shooting a rocket launcher at point-blank range, killing itself and everyone around it. So, in other words, like your average Battlefield player. Now, graphically, the game might not be much to look at. This is in part due to the fact that it's either been a one-man project through the majority of its development before it even hit Steam in early access 3 years ago, and another part is to ease up the system requirements to allow really high bot counts on hardware that can handle it, as well as allow the CPU and GPUs to handle all the AI's path findings. However, on the maps where there are all three vehicle types, land, air, water, the frame rate, even on the system that this footage was captured on, would get some minor and weird slowdown and frame rate issues. I have a feeling this has to do with the pathfinding of water-based vehicles, because on maps where there was both land and air vehicles, generally didn't have any issues unless I got up into like the 300 or 400 bot count range. So aside from those water-based maps, really old hardware and even some laptops are going to be able to run this game without any issues, at least on the default settings, and not going above 100 bot count matches. But hey, at least it's not Cyberpunk.
A high rate of violence and more people living below the poverty line than anywhere else.
The game's controls are pretty much exactly the same as Battlefield. Basically, anything you can do in Battlefield, you can do here, with the exception of Ravenfield allowing you to pull random bots into a squad, which then you can issue really basic commands to, like go to this point on the map, or go take one of these capture points, or just to follow you. There's also a slow-mo bullet time effect you can toggle at any point. It's very useful because, as you've no doubt seen in the footage, the bots really don't like to stand still and largely insist on sprinting all over the place. It's very useful to line up shots. The gunplay and the shooting mechanics actually work really well. The game makes the choice of having every projectile fired actually have a physical model that has to travel across the map instead of being hit scan like games like Call of Duty. Makes the shooting feel more realistic and adds to the skill required to line up shots, especially on moving targets. However, much like the Battlefield series, vehicle controls are absolute ass.
Oh, Jesus! Get him, you son of a bitch!
The game does have quite a few different modes you can play in. Most of them are just various iterations of what you see in the main Battlefield multiplayer mode, where both teams have to take various points on the map. But some of the variations include a limited number of respawns, as well as the point threshold the teams have to hit in order to win the match, as well as how those points are acquired. But for the most part, those are all basically the same. There is also a Spec Ops mode, where you are given a small squad to complete randomly assigned objectives on the map in a stealth mission, where the objective is to focus more on sneaking than just running and gunning. Another one is the Haunt mode, basically a horde mode where you just battle waves of skeletons. Then there's also the campaign mode, where you have an overworld map and generate resources each turn based on the regions you hold that you can then use to build new armies and unlock weapons and vehicles. If you've played the original Star Wars Battlefront 2, it works a lot like that game's Galactic Conquest mode. However, it's not finished. There's a lot of balancing issues and the map feels way too small. For example, I was able to conquer the whole map before even having a tank unlocked or a majority of the guns. And when I did conquer everything, there was no end state and the game would just keep going with nothing to do. So overall, most of your time you're going to want to just spend with the regular default modes in the quick play. Hopefully when the game gets finished, the campaign mode is more interesting, but most of your time is going to be want to spend in the Battlefield copycat mode, where you can just jump in quickly and have some fun with the chaos. Now, the best thing about Ravenfield that I've been saving for last to show is the game's extensive modding capabilities. The game has a Steam workshop that is absolutely filled to the brim with all sorts of mods, maps, weapons, vehicles, skins, and mutators to add extra effects are all in there, allowing you to make the game as awesome or as cringy as you want.
What the fuck?
However, a word to the wise, not all mods are of high quality, like this map for instance, which causes terrible frame rate. Some will even crash your game entirely, and best benefit of using mods is the fact that it can cause the game to take an hour to do its initial load up, as it loads each mod asset individually. Truly amazing. Now, do I recommend Ravenfield? I absolutely do, to the kind of people that can make their own fun in a game with little to no point, especially if you're willing to take the effort to find the mods that you want and actually work. If you liked this video, please like, share, subscribe, hit the little bell notification for future updates, as more content will be coming sometime in the near future, and help me get to the point where I can start getting that sweet ad revenue so I can stop selling feet pics on OnlyFans as a way of sustaining myself. I am Tullius Typer, and remember,
And if you choose the $30 subscription, you get
Silence Wedge. I do not wish to be horny anymore. I just want to be happy.